Welcome to Dare to Dream, the show where we go beyond the surface to explore the stories of visionaries, creators, and changemakers who dare to follow their passion and rewrite the rules. Today's guest is someone who has turned observation into impact. Aadhyatm Verma, a powerful voice in visual storytelling. Aadhyatm is an award winning photographer, independent journalist, and documentarian whose work has been recognized by UNESCO, UNEP, and the Ministry of Culture. So, if you are someone who believes in the power of stories to spark change, or you are a creative soul looking for inspiration, this conversation is going to hit home. Let's dive into the journey of a storyteller who didn't just dare to dream, but he dared to see. A warm welcome, Adhyatam ji, for this episode of Dare to Dream podcast.
Thank you, Hardeep Singh, and thank you for this initiative. I'm very much obliged to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
It's an initiative where we would like to share your experiences with the freshers who want to get into this particular field. So to start with, you know, आपने अपना AV frames create किया, एक unorthodox stream पकड़ा अपनी career के लिए. When did it hit you that you want to get into this thing?
So I always wanted to do something that sets me apart from the crowd, not to be a part of the crowd, and to share my story and leave a legacy behind. Photography, documentary making was an accident. It was never destined to happen in my life, and I was never knowing about such an art existed because I started quite early during my school times, and during that time, in Indian society, it's always focused towards more of academics and
Yes.
to focus on building yourself academically, and art is something that is, I would say, it dies before we explore it. So but thankfully, I always wanted to, as I said, that I wanted to build legacy and I want to create an impact in the world, so people remember me, okay, this is something that change happened from here, and then this is something that is going on now. So it was my photography was something I started back in ninth class, and it has been ever since. And talking about AV frames, it's more like how I can brand myself to, so that I am able to introduce myself and leave a brand that, okay, this is a brand, because my name is quite tough to pronounce. Adhyatm is a long name, so everyone was asking about, like, okay, what do we call you shorter? So it's like AV frames. So Aadhyatm Verma is AV frames, so that's where it belongs from. And I always wanted to do, for example, fine art photography, so under which I am able to do my operations of fine art photography, sell my prints, do some shoots. uh, I am very selective about the assignments which I take, so that's where the AV frames is born.
Okay, that's very nice. Ninth grade, you said that you decided.
Right.
It must have been a very, very challenging to convince parents that you want to do something which is beyond academics. You know,
Absolutely.
so how you convinced? Like, मैं तो ये कहूँगा, like, ये आपका एक वो moment था जहाँ पे आपने you dare to dream, in ninth grade, quite young, or then when it hit you, so क्या और आपके लिए क्या क्या challenges रहे उस समय की, so first of the challenge is to convince the parents that you want to get into
Absolutely.
photography.
Absolutely. So thankfully, my parents have been very supportive to me, and all this is because of them, and nothing is possible without them. They were never stopping me. Okay, you don't have to go there, study this and that. Of course, they said me like to focus on my grades. I am a poor student. I have always been a very poor student, not very good with marks. Thankfully, in 12th, I performed very well. It was a miracle that happened with me. So I believe that parents should, of course, in India, parents should also focus on the co-curricular activities of a student as well. Of course, education is something which is very important, and if I'm able to sit here and talk to you, is more believed to be more than a talent. It's education which has put me on this chair. So I would highly say that. I would highly suggest that parents should encourage the co-curricular activities as well, apart from the education, because after all, what sets you apart from the crowd is something that everyone should focus on themselves to make this world a better place in my aspect. So
Yeah,
that's my
truly,
point.
right, rightly said. But equally important will be like अगर आप अपनी journey till date, right from day one अभी तक आपकी क्या कैसी जर्नी रही, अगर आप उस पर कुछ शेयर कर सकें तो that will be a really helpful thing.
uh, I guess it would be challenging when you get into photography or any kind of art, for example, dance, music, any kind of art. Uh, how do you become better version of yourself? Is more like when you do it with consistency.
Right.
People, many people pick up the art, they do it for certain months, for certain years, they lack the interest, or maybe they go through a mental block and then they say, okay, now we are done with this kind of art. So that's where you have to put yourself, force yourself rather, I would say, to create the art, keep creating. You might not be creating a very good piece, you might not be liking it, but of course it's a journey and you have to be consistent in that manner. So that's a very big challenge that I have also been it still happens,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, past a year was quite a mental block, but again I never quit that, because it's been 8 years since I've been doing photography and
Right.
documentary making, so I
Mm-hmm.
cannot leave it just like that. And it has more it becomes your recognition phase, like
Yeah.
how do you recognize yourself and how you are getting recognized by others. So challenging is the word that I would say. It's my journey, and it has always been ups and downs that has made me more go through creative process, to keep experimenting, to just break the rules of photography, documentary making, so to create something, I would say, unique,
Mm-hmm.
apart from the content world of Instagram that we are living in right
Mm-hmm.
now.
इनफैक्ट हमारी मीटिंग भी आपके एक कॉन्टेस्ट से ही हुई थी जो लाइक पैनासोनिक ने कंडक्ट किया, यू पार्टिसिपेटेड.
Right.
ऐसे कई कंटेस्ट आपने पार्टिसिपेट किए वे यू मस्ट हैव शेयर्ड योर इमेजेस टू बी फॉर विनिंग दैट कॉन्टेस्ट. और एट टाइम्स आप जीते भी होंगे और एट टाइम्स आप नहीं भी जीते होंगे.
Absolutely.
सो आपका लाइक दोज मोमेंट्स व्हेन यू हैव नॉट बीन योर इमेज हैज नॉट बीन सिलेक्टेड फॉर रिकॉग्निशन, how do you feel and how you come out of that phase?
See,
That's a
I
tough
guess
phase because everybody will be facing that. हमारे लिए तो हमारा प्रोडक्ट सबसे अच्छा ही है, हमारे लिए हमारी वो जो हमने शॉट लिया है इट मस्ट हैव बीन समथिंग डिफरेंट.
absolutely.
तो
So, in a very straight point, when you participate in a contest or a competition, it's be ready to lose, because winning a competition, you don't know how what capacity the opponent is ready for, and he might be or she might be more experienced than you, and experience counts a lot in competitions and contests. So I'm always ready to lose. I'm never here for participating in a contest to win. Um, I it's a process that maybe for some people it might be 100 to 1 ratio of winning a competition, but you shouldn't be discouraged. It's more like the jury can be subjective to recognizing your talent, but ultimately it outshines your personality and it outshines your selection criterias at times of competition. So keep doing your work, keep participating. Competitions are very nice to scale yourself on what scale you belong to. It's more like, I would say that when you are in a competition, you get to know what others are making. You might get more good exposure and you might get better results in future as you devote more time to your art.
yeah, that's a good idea. In fact, it's always a learning.
Right.
You participate in a contest, you see, you have shared your images, participated in that. The other's perspective is also known to you, like how
Absolutely.
they have shot, and it's always a learning. And when you meet, when you greet, then you learn also.
Absolutely.
अगर हम कहें आपने इस अपनी जर्नी में लॉट ऑफ ऑब्स्टिकल्स भी आए होंगे आपके लिए, you know like you have to keep yourself motivated. There are times when you feel dejected. So what kind of obstacles that you have faced, क्या क्या obstacles आपके उसमें लाइफ में आए and how you were able to come out of it?
So the best obstacle that I faced was, I would say, best obstacle. I mean, like, in a very good manner, I would say it's a best obstacle, because we all faced it, and it was important for us to be creative in times of COVID. 3 years, an art which is practiced outside, you have to be in home and practice it, and still make sure that you are creating something good. You are valuing your time as an artist, and you are not being inconsistent with your art, so that leaves you out of practice, and you might not want to resume it once the COVID times were over. And a lot of creators went through it. Mental block happened, people were not so creative. So the best part was the COVID times. I got to experiment a lot of things, thankfully, in my home. I used to go on my terrace to experiment a lot of things. For example, during the night, I used to do light trails and whatnot. So it was amazing. The time got passed, and thankfully, the challenges keep coming, and we are ready for the next challenge always.
Yeah, no doubt about that. COVID was one tough time, and it tested, every human being in this on this earth, wherein, like, only people with sustained efforts, and they had to
Absolutely.
wait for their time and they have to come out. No doubt about that. Any obstacles, like, apart from this one, ये तो एक phase था which was like, it was very difficult for any human being on earth to come out of it. But photography per se, कुछ और obstacles.
See, on the field, there are many obstacles we always come through. For example, if you are doing street photography, you never know who's going to be offended when you are clicking a photo. And when you are taking a permission, that shot never comes, because you have to make it natural as soon as possible, and you don't have to stage it as well. So these are some of the obstacles. But sometimes you are running out of gadgets, because nowadays people do get inspired by a lot of gadgets makes good art. That's not the case. So that's an obstacle I also used to face when I was in some mid time. For example, it was barely 3 to 4 years when I was into this field, and I used to think that might be a better camera would do something wonder, but it's not the case. So that's an obstacle that you have to realize in yourself, that better gadget, better cameras doesn't mean that a better art would be created. It's more like what is behind the camera, who is behind the camera, the hands behind the camera, the mind behind the camera is always more prominent than what technology you are carrying with yourself. So that's an obstacle many budding photographers, many budding artists face, but they are not able to for say, or able to recognize it. They say just buy a new camera or buy a new gadget. It is not like that. Of course, upgrading your gears is something that I would highly encourage, but you should realize when the time is right.
Very well said. I really appreciate. So we know that you are a photographer. तो आप कैसे चाहेंगे कि लाइक आपको लोग कैसे याद करें? क्या क्या एक्सप्रेशंस आप नॉर्मली कन्वे करना पसंद करते हैं अपनी फोटोग्राफी के थ्रू, जिससे कि आपका हम ये कहें कि वो आपका फोटो भी है और साइमल्टेनियसली लोग भी आपको उसी सेगमेंट में जाने?
Right. So my main aim was clicking photographs and making documentaries is to leave an impact. Apart from clicking beautiful photographs, as we have always been seeing from centuries now, I would say, of landscapes, portraits, and everything, it's more like how you build your narrative of something that is going on in the world and which is impacting not a billions, millions of people across the world. It can be something very passive which is happening in your background, and you're not able to just see it in yourself or feel it in yourself, that okay, this is happening and this is impacting us in a very indirect way. To pick a topic out of that and to make something, for example, a documentary, a photo book, or a photo series of it, and to narrate it to the world in a very neutral manner, in a very I would say unbiased manner, is what I always dream of, to make something impactful and leave a legacy behind.
ओके. और आप तो फोटो जर्नलिस्ट भी हैं और विजुअल आर्टिस्ट भी हैं, सो हाउ यू बैलेंस इट आउट?
So two things. Visual artists have challenge of mental blocks, while photojournalists have a challenge of clicking a good photo or a meaningful photo of that incident, or say of that things which are happening around you. I have covered CA and RC. I've covered farmers protest. I've covered a lot of events, politically motivated or apolitically motivated. What I always want to is to narrate that thing in a very apolitical manner, and it shouldn't be leftist or shouldn't be rightist, but we are centrist in that aspect. So my main aim is always that, whether it's for a visual artist or being a photojournalist, is to always put a narrative which is very mediocre. It might not create a lot of eyeballs to my work, but it's always a thing. When a few people are seeing it, they say, okay, this is something which is very solid, which is not impacted by the narratives surrounding that particular thing. तो मुझे लगता है कि ऐसा हमें create करना चाहिए, which is very I would say it just mediates things. Like for example, media means mediates, whereas we are not, अभी हम नहीं देख पा रहे वो चीज़ होते हुए. So I want to build that thing. So visual artist or being a photojournalist, my main aim is to being neutral, and उसको हम एक तरीके से मीडियम तरीके से हम उसको ट्रांसपेरेंट तरीके से आके रख पाए.
So very rightly said that you have your main objective is to convey the message. But अगर मैं आपसे पूछूं people, conflicts or landscape, which attracts you more? Which type of photography like attracts you more, that I need to take this assignment?
Very good question, but my point is to create what my rule has always been in photography is to click contemporaries, but I always want life to be there in a photograph. So whether it's a landscape, conflict, or people, it's all about life. So when I'm clicking a conflict, I have to show something in which a life matters. So the humanity perspective should be highlighted. So whether it's people, again, people is more of humanity, and how I'm playing. It's an art to depict people. It's an art to depict their habits, lifestyle, and how they drive their own life. And talking about landscape, I always want to just not click mountains, rivers, and foreground में अच्छा होना चाहिए, grass होनी चाहिए, flowers होने चाहिए. It's more like कि आप life कैसे दिखा रहे हो. It could be something, a bird, it could be a person, a localite in a mountain, कुछ plugging कर रहा है, अपनी farming कर रहा है. So life is the aspect that I would like to keep in all of my photographs.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm not going for a choice here, but मुझे life is a thing that I would like to display.
So please do share your experience during this Kumbh Mela. You were part of that assignment, so
Yeah.
please do share something about that.
So this was my, I would say the second Kumbh, or no, I would say second Kumbh, properly a second Kumbh which I covered. First was in Haridwar, then I went for a very short while in Allahabad 2019 one, but this was something very different. I was waiting for this event for, I would say, from 2 to 3 years, and how I can explode, or I can experiment myself in Kumbh, because life surrounds you, and in all forms the life surrounds you, whether it's a monk, whether it's a person coming from a rural area, or whether it's a person coming from a very rich place of urban cities. So life is surrounding you, and it's upon you how you interact in that challenging times. You've seen a lot of footages of Kumbh, a lot of things happening in the Kumbh, in a very good manner, in a very bad manner. It's how you put your narrative forward, and how you display your things in Kumbh. For me, Kumbh was something, I would say, not short of life changing, and how you have been driving photography till now. Clicking sadhu babas and clicking monks जो वहाँ पर आते हैं, and उनको डिस्टर्ब करना नहीं होता है, and वो बहुत कम लोग रियलाइज करते हैं. पीपल जस्ट उनके फेस में बहुत ज़्यादा जूम करना, या उनकी रेगुलर प्रैक्टिसेस में उनको डिस्टर्ब करना is not something that you are doing photography. It's more like कि आप you're staging it. और photography is something, I would say, any kind of art ऐसी होनी चाहिए जो दूसरे को डिस्टर्ब ना करे, and you practice it peacefully as well, the others also driving its own lifestyle, his or her lifestyle. So Kumbh was something very challenging for me. In a very short word, I would say the most challenging event that I've covered till now, because dealing with monks, dealing with sadhus, once you click the photos, they run after you just to give some money or certain things. It's more like कि आप उनसे जाओ, interact करो, maybe not interacting, but keep a distance, a safe distance, that the person is also not able to feel your presence, and you get the shot done.
Oh, okay. So if you can share something like आपने कुछ ऐसा शॉट किया and it turned out to be so good that you or something different that you were also not expecting. ऐसा कुछ कुछ वहाँ पे आपका एक्सपीरियंस रहा हो?
A lot of experiences have been like that. मुझे लगता है कि uh, a billion people took part in it, and I have thousands of memories to tell. But I cannot talk about one shot that I clicked. It was very good because मुझे लगता है कि मैं उससे better कर सकता हूँ अगले कुंभ में. So I'm not going to say that. But हाँ, during the Shahi Snan days, I was very vigilant of keeping an eye out there कि मुझे यहाँ पे कैसे अच्छे shots मिल सकते हैं, and जो different हो from just clicking the monks photo, and just it's more like कि expression of monks, वो कैसा feel कर रहे होते हैं, because वो उस moment के लिए decades से wait कर रहे हैं, और maybe few years से wait कर रहे हैं just to take a good Shahi Snan in the holy river Sangam, right? तो वो emotion capture करना is an art, and I think very less people were able to achieve it. Not only me, but very less people. And from my perspective, I will still try again to get that shot once again. So it's always there a term that इससे बढ़िया हो सकता है. So I would always say that इससे बढ़िया हमेशा हो सकता है.
Okay. So Kumbh was one of the event that you took it up. Any other assignment, any other project, which is like you shot and you felt overwhelmed? Kia, wow, that's something I was waiting to happen and I have taken this shot. ऐसा कोई experience आपका?
In the past 8 years, there have been multiple shots जो मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगे हैं. But कोई एक shot, if I have to answer it, would be the Vrindavan की होली. A lot of people have captured it. बहुत लोगों को बहुत अच्छे shots मिले हैं. But there happens ना कि एक चीज़ की बहुत लोग फोटो खींचते हैं वहाँ पे. That's a very old habit, I would say, and it's not so nice, but okay. The subjects are very objective, I would say. So I was able to photograph the people who dance there when the whole procession of Holi is going on. तो उसमें जो dancing होती है, I've been able to capture the feet of that. I would say it was a transgender जिसकी मैंने feet capture करी, and it turned out to be a very surprisingly very good shot. One of my favorite shot, I would say. Not the most favorite shot, but of course one of the most favorite shot.
Okay. That's an experience. No one would like to forget about. Very true. So do you feel that camera plays one of the important role जो कि identities और culture को bridge करता है दोनों? Is camera plays an important role there, और कैसे?
Undoubtedly, of course. मैं बहुत जगह गया हूँ, remote places गया हूँ. I've been to states of India, a lot of states of India. भाषाएं वहाँ पे नहीं recognize कर सकते हो. The expressions might not be adequate to express yourself to the other person who is belonging from a very different community. तो कैमरा एक ऐसी चीज़ है, either the other person becomes very alert, or either the big person smiles. And mostly I have been thankfully experienced smiles of the people. So camera has been something more of overshining my personality in a stranger's area. So I guess, yes, camera adds a lot of value to anyone's life, not as an artist, but किसी की भी life में, because people are always want to in front of the camera. There are less introverts in the remote area, which I have experienced. It's totally my experience. It could be subjective to a lot of people, but for me, the camera has played a very big role.
So must be a tough task to manage, those people who are like in remote areas. They want to get themselves clicked. So, madam, कैसे manage करते होंगे? Must be very tough, or you must be developing an engaging relationship with them so that it becomes easier to take photograph.
Right. I mean, like जैसा कुंभ में हुआ, you need to make the person friendly to you before you are going to click the person. It's not the street photography. And there you cannot do the street photography as you do in Chandni Chowk area, या फिर कहीं भी आप streets of Delhi में घूम रहे हो या कोई भी city में घूम रहे हो. Because I am from Delhi, so I relate a lot to street photography of Chandni Chowk. क्योंकि वहाँ पे लोग हैबिचुअल हैं, पता है कि क्या बंदा आ रहा है, कैमरे से फोटो खींचेगा एंड ही विल जस्ट गो अवे. बट वहाँ पे दे डोंट नो द पर्पस, दे आर क्वाइट इनसिक्योर कि इस फोटो का क्या होगा.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of insecurity revolves around the border areas of India. So you need to make themselves friendly first. You need to adjust to their atmosphere. You need to make them feel safe. If you are here just as a friend or just as a hobby that you are doing it, you are
Mm-hmm.
not here to reap benefits out of the person or the community that you are photographing. And that's actually the case. वहाँ पे benefit, it's just to practice our art and just to detox ourselves from the chaotic world that we live in. तो मुझे लगता है कि yes, we need to make the person, the subject, a friend, and then click it in such a remote areas.
Mm-hmm. Very well. So, but you must have seen that, cameras are evolving, photographic industry is evolving, printing is evolving. Now, digitally, it's altogether different. So, how do you feel yourself? How you are going to, take this challenge of new ways of photography, new digital ways of promoting the things? How do you see yourself into it?
Um, in my perspective, photography has been long dead. Because whenever I ask जो एक ancient, I would say it's an ancient practice of film now, because no one does that. It's long forgotten. DSLRs आए, digital cameras आए, handy cams आए. Now we are having mirrorless. Now we are having phones with a very good cameras. Now we are having AI, everything inbuilt of you just click a random photo and it turns out to be good. You can remove any object from a photo. So photography definition has totally changed, and I would say it's long dead. If I would say, it's more like digital creators now, and that has been the term since social media has been there. So I would say keeping yourself updated, adapting to the changes happening, and staying relevant is what I would say कि आपको मार्केट में जिंदा रखता है. एंड इफ यू जस्ट से कि नहीं यार मैं तो फोटोग्राफी पुरानी स्टाइल से करूंगा, ओके, डू दैट फॉर योर इनर सेटिस्फैक्शन, बट ऑल्सो डू दैट द थिंग्स विच आर टॉप ट्रेंडिंग इन द मार्केट. तो आप रेलिवेंट रहोगे. यू कैन नॉट जस्ट से कि नहीं यार मैं तो यही करूंगा एंड पीपल हैव टू रिकॉग्नाइज इट. दैट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन. वो टाइम चला जा चुका है एंड हर कोई उस तरीके से नहीं बन सकता है अब. सो सबके हाथ में फ़ोन है, सबके हाथ में कैमराज हैं आजकल. तो यू नीड टू सेट अपार्ट योर सेल्फ फ्रॉम बीइंग अपडेटेड एंड प्रैक्टिस योर आर्ट इन द बेस्ट मैनर दैट यू हैव बीन डूइंग.
Yeah, but I would just like to add, like, जैसे आपने starting में बोला था, it's important what is there in your mind.
Right.
AI is there, no doubt, but ultimately the perspectives or the way it has to be shot, that is, human being. That is the caliber of a human being. जैसे वो खींच सकता है, so that will remain as it is.
Absolutely.
So
that is the soul. Why are you practicing an art? It's because your main aim and the soul of practicing that art is to वो चीज़ जिंदा रखना है. For me it is always a life to be in the photo, or to a certain times I would say कि वो क्या दिखाता है human lives के बारे में. So you have to keep that alive. उसके इर्द गिर्द टहलती हैं ये सारी चीज़ें, AI, digital format, films.
So, as an independent creators, there are a lot of challenges, right? So, what is one suggestion or two suggestion that you would like to share it with, upcoming independent creators, that they need to be ready for the challenges that is there? क्या कुछ share करना चाहेंगे आप?
So, for me, I would just say to explore your art to the extent, don't restrict yourself and keep experimenting, and just don't follow यार देख ये वाला शॉट बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, मुझे भी यही शॉट बनाना है. So that is where you lose your identity. You're not going to be you don't want to be a shadow of some artist, and you cannot be, because people don't remember you for that. People want something new to come up. तो आपको एक्सपेरिमेंट करना है. डोंट रेस्ट्रिक्ट योर सेल्फ कि नहीं यार मैं तो अगर ये जॉनर चूज किया तो मैं यही करूंगा. आई डोंट हैव टू चेंज इट इन मिड कैरियर. चेंज इट. Break the rules of doing art, not only photography. Break the rules and experiment it, and just make sure that you respect the original creators, so that आप भी आगे चल के receive the same respect जो आपने दी आगे. So it has to be a community of cycle. It's an ecosystem. जो आप करते हो, that is what you receive from others also. So don't restrict yourself and respect the original creator of the work.
So you have been using Lumix gear for a pretty long time now. So what have been your experiences, and if you want to share some views on that?
For me, Lumix has been nothing short of a world for me. Why so is because I was it was my first camera, and I remember I purchased FZ1000 because जब एक creator या जब एक budding artist, because at that time I was a budding artist, I used to do photography, and did not know nothing about of even a shutter button, what is in the camera. So I blindly went to the Lumix shop. They suggested me, आपको समझ नहीं आ रहा है तो आप ये ले लो, and that was the model FZ1000. And I purchased it, if I'm not wrong, 2017, 2016, I'm not remembering the exact, and it's still in very perfect working condition. It shows the robustness of the body. It has been heavily abused, but still works like a charm. So for me, I purchased it FZ1000, and it has a lens of 25-400. So it saved me a lot of money in the starting, because you don't want to invest in something which you are experimenting. So lenses कभी नहीं खरीदने पड़े, and Panasonic's range of Lumix cameras has been so wide, and the features that they have been offering from so long ago. I'm like, the other competitors were still in the DSLR world. They were not offering the mirrorless technology. Panasonic started from mirrorless. So now I look back to that time and say, yes, they were advanced, and I made the right choice of accidentally choosing Lumix. So for me, Lumix has been everything, and the kind of body, the kind of signature of photos that it carries, it sets apart from any other competitor around the price range, price war that we are right now. Every company is fighting.
Right. So these gears really help for any photographer in in creating the stories that he feels that it should be in the best of form, the stories that he intends to showcase to the world. So gear really plays an important role.
It does not more than your imagination, not more than your ambition, but of course it's a 50-50 ratio. अगर आपके पास gear नहीं होगा, you just can dream and imagine. You cannot project it to the people, project it to your audience. So you have to have a good gear. You have to have your a gear which you are very friendly with, जो आपको reliability पे कभी question ना उठाए. So for me, Lumix has been that key thing. I've shot in very hot destinations, in industries, traditional industries of India. For example, I'm making a documentary on Firozabad glass industry.
Okay.
So it's a Bengal industry, and inside, believe me or not, 60 degrees Celsius is a very common temperature during the hot days, summers of India. And believe me or not, there were other cameras also, and they were not able to cope up with the heat, and Panasonic just went through, not disappointing me at any point. So for me, yes, of course, gears matter a lot, and a good brand gears matters more than that.
That's great. That's great. Let's talk about something about future. You must be having some dream, some collaboration, some vision on your dream board, or something that you would like to do. Anything you would like to share it here?
My dream is to build a organization which narrates incidents, which narrates the politics of the world in a very neutral manner, because we are all surrounded by that. Even if you don't want to, you get surrounded by that. So my dream project is to build a legacy which was which will be, I would say, seen through a very transparent mode. People must appreciate it. Okay, this was something that was groundbreaking, that hasn't been felt through in our mind, felt in our mind from a very long time. तो मुझे लगता है कि a project on that would be the best I can give to the world. तो मुझे लगता है मैं उसमें ही काम करना चाहूँगा आगे चल के, whether it's a fine art, whether it's a conflict people or life. So it's always about building a good narrative.
So as you said that you want to have a neutral narrative for your photographs, but आज की दुनिया is quite polarized. So do you feel that photographers, journalists have a responsibility towards that to showcase neutral thing or be partisan kind of thing?
I guess that's a basic responsibility, not even moral responsibility. That is the basic ethos of journalism. When we are talking about the ethos of journalism, it's more like, why are you called media? It's mediate the thing, not build your own opinions about it. What we have been going through is quite disturbing, I would say, in a word, जो हमें नहीं होना चाहिए. And as an artist, I would say yes, because artists influence a lot. They do it in a very passive manner. They don't outshine themselves more than the regular TV media, television, mainstream media. So artists influence a lot, and they have a very moral responsibility of creating image, creating sketches, creating videos which are uh, widely neutral, which are not just made to catch the eyeballs, which is a sad reality right now, because algorithms work in such way. I'm not
Yeah.
going to name any app, I'm not going to name any media channel, but of course, building something opinion which is creating eyeballs, which is creating TRPs, is something that I feel
Yeah, in
disturbed.
fact, the courts in India have also recognized media trial, a
Media trial.
terminology that is being given that media jumps on conclusions straight away,
Absolutely, absolutely.
without thinking, which is something the role of, some mediators are there, which they start playing on their own.
Exactly.
Truly speaking, that's very well recognized in India itself.
And that has always created a I would say a distance between two communities, any community around the world. I'm talking, it's not only in India or any democratic country. It's more like कि हम कहीं भी जाते हैं, media is something which has played a very huge role, either the bridging of the community or either separating the two
Separating them,
communities. So
creating,
that is the point.
yes, creating a chasm itself. So, any word of wisdom for our freshers who want to get into this storytelling, filmmaking, photography, cinematography? Any words of wisdom from your side?
Create what you feel like, and create something original. Think out of the box. Don't copy something. Don't copy someone's perspective. Just build your own perspective, and it will definitely make you a successful artist, in a word.
Very nice words. Very nice words. Be original.
Absolutely.
That's the core. That's the core. Be original. Think on your own. What can be a different way of showcasing?
Absolutely.
Very nice. So, in the last, I would like to know, dare to dream. What does it means to you? Like when you say that dare to dream is a podcast that we are running. So आपको इस phrase से अपने personality को, अपने personal experiences को लेके आपको क्या रहता है जो आप that you can share it over here?
So everyone should dare to dream. Might be your actions be limited because of certain surroundings, but there's nothing stopping you to dream. You might not get chance today, or you might not get chance tomorrow, but definitely life will give you an opportunity to prove your dream right, and that should be there in your mind first to make that dream happen. So you should dream, but make sure that it is realistic, it is possible, and you work towards it from the day one, since you have dreamt about it.
So nice words. So nice words. So Adhyatam ji, this brings to an end to this show.
Thank you.
And I would like to extend my gratitude. Thanks a ton for coming on this show, sharing your experiences, which is like going to be a guiding points for freshers, for who are already struggling, or they might want to hear more, like they want to know about how to get into this photography industry. how to sustain yourself. That's the biggest learning that I could take it from here, that in a COVID period, it would have been very, very tough for any human being. A lot of people might have left their passion altogether. But one thing is very, very clear from your successes, that if you follow your passion, if you keep on doing it, sustain yourself for that tough period, you will definitely succeed one day. So thanks again, once again. Thank you for coming on this show. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. And it has always been a pleasure to talk to you.
Same here.